The San Dimas City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 12th will come to order. It's on. It's on. Can you hear me? Okay. We just got already scolded. Here 2 minutes and already got scolded. Okay. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to talk into it a little more. Okay? All right. Madam Mayor, would you
Please rise. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Madam City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Nakano.
Present.
Councilmember Ebner.
Here.
Councilmember Weber.
Here.
Mayor Bedar.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Viana.
Present.
Record will reflect all council members are in attendance. Councilmember Viana is participating by Zoom.
Got it. Okay, today we have a recognition of the American Red Cross Month.
Whereas in times of crisis, people in San Dimas come together to care for one another. This humanitarian spirit is part of the foundation of our community and is exemplified by American Red Cross volunteers and donors. And whereas in 1881, Clara Bolton founded the American Red Cross, turning her steadfast dedication for helping others into a bold mission of preventing and alleviating people's suffering. Today, more than 140 years later, we honor the kindness and generosity of Red Cross volunteers here in San Dimas who continue to carry out Clara's life-saving legacy. They join the millions of people across the United States who volunteer, give blood, donate financially, or learn vital life-preserving skills through the Red Cross. And whereas in the greater San Gabriel and Pomona valleys, the contributions of local Red Cross volunteers give hope to the most vulnerable in their darkest hours. Whether it's providing emergency shelter, food, and comfort for families devastated by local disasters like home fires, donating essential blood for accident and burn victims, heart surgery, and organ transplant patients, and those receiving treatment for leukemia, cancer, or sickle cell disease, supporting service members and veterans along with their families and caregivers through the unique challenges of military life, helping to save the lives of others with first aid, CPR, and other skills, or delivering international humanitarian aid. And where does someone else read it? Do I read that, or does someone else read it?
No problem. Just
Okay. Okay. And now, therefore, I, Eva Yassin, Mayor Pro Tem Ryan Viana, Council Members John Ebner, Eric Nakano, and Eric Weber, do hereby proclaim March 2024 as Red Cross Month in the city of San Dimas, California. In witness thereof, I, Eva Yassin, have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of San Dimas to be affixed in this 12th day of March 2024.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move to the AYSO Region 112. Your representative is here, okay. Coach Anthony Beneda. Oh. Anthony, could you just hold on just 1 minute? I'm being chastised a second time. Madam Mayor, we screwed up. Okay, we do have a representative from the American Red Cross, and thank you very much for coming here. She's already read the proclamation, so maybe you would like to meet us, or if you have something you'd like to say, then we'll meet over there for a photograph.
Perfect. I am the executive director. Thank you so much for the community of San Dimas. This is also our volunteer who will say a few words. She is a resident of the beautiful city.
Well, hi, I think pretty much you know me, right? I have been volunteering for the Red Cross for a couple of years now, and I do enjoy it. I basically go to the Cal Poly campus and sit there and wait for volunteers to come in. I check them in, and it's just fantastic. My husband does volunteer also, so we're very involved with the Red Cross, and we appreciate what they do, and I hope to encourage more people to get involved with the Red Cross. It's a great organization. I don't have to say much more. I think pretty much everybody knows what we do. So thank you. Thank you for helping us save lives.
Thank you. Would you have anything you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to say?
I'd love to. Thank you so much to the beautiful city. I want to stand here and thank you for the wonderful proclamation. And I want to just solidify our commitment to this amazing city. Every single day, your wonderful residents and constituents help us by donating blood, volunteering, being active, and looking at how lively everyone is here in the beautiful city of San Dimas. I invite you all to get involved with our organization, volunteer, take a class that might save a life, help during a large-scale natural disaster or a home and apartment fire. Donate blood. We are excited to be here and continue this longstanding partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Did Anthony Pineda leave? No. Thank you, Anthony. I'm sorry for the delay. Would you like to please come up, please? Okay. Okay, Anthony, we're going to go ahead and go with you at this point. Okay. Would you like to say a few words and then introduce your obviously your winning team?
Yeah, well, thank you. We'd like to thank the city of San Dimas for taking the time to recognize us at this city town meeting. It means a lot to the boys. They put a lot of hard work and effort into the season. We went all the way, got third in Southern California, and I just like to have them come up here and, let you guys know that they did such a great job. I'm so proud of them.
Super. What we'll do is we'll just go ahead and read the names because it's a little bit confused. Scott, do you have any few words you'd like to say?
Not beyond what you'd like to say, other than we love ASO. I'm an ASO kid for 9 years, and how I.
You want to read these names?
No, but seriously, we just really appreciate. We have modeled this city where we organizations, they're almost always entirely volunteer to actually coach the kids and make it a meaningful experience. So very appreciative.
And then we'll read his name last.
Thank you.
When the mayor reads your name, if you just line up right over there, to the right of your coach, and then we'll present you with a certificate, and then we'll take a picture.
Nate Batch,
Right here, Nate. Nate.
Porter Batch, Alan Campbell, Mateo Carlos, Arlene Picas Contreras, Troy Diaz, Dante Guadalajara, Luca Honda, Cash Laver, Giovanni Penda, and Arden Rosa. And lastly, we have Coach Anthony Pienda.
Anyone wishing to take a picture, please come on up and go ahead and take it. All along. Bill, everybody good? Guys, thank you. Congratulations. Next, we'll do DMV Donate Life Month, One Legacy Ambassador Jolene Vargas. Would you like to come up? Hi, Jolene. Yes, Mayor?
Whereas organ, eye, tissue, marrow, and blood donations are life-giving acts recognized worldwide as expressions of compassion to those in need, and whereas the need for donated organs is especially urgent in Hispanic, Latino, and African American communities, whereas deceased organ donors saved more than 42,000 lives last year, the most ever, whereas California residents can sign up with the Donate Life California Donor Registry when applying for or renewing their driver's license or ID cards at the California Department of Motor Vehicles. Now, therefore, I, Eva Yassin, Mayor Pro Tem Ryan Vienna, Council Members John Ebner, Eric Nakano, and Eric Weber hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as DMV Donate Life Month in the city of San Dimas. Eyewitness thereof, I, Eva Yassin, have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of San Dimas to be affixed this 12th day of March 2024.
Thank you. Let's go down there just a second.
Oh, go ahead. I want to say thank you for the mayor, pro tem mayor, and city council members for recognizing April as Donate Life Month. On a personal level, I am a donor daughter. When my father passed away, he became a cornea donor, which helped two people with their eyesight, which they were blind, and with his help, they could see again. And I'm also a recipient. I'm a 3-time kidney recipient. I have had 30 extra years of life because of my donors. So I want to say thank you for recognizing April as Donate Life Month.
At this time, we'll call Parks and Recreation Director Scott Wasserman.
Thank you, Mr. and Madam Mayor. I'm joined tonight by Eva Gallegos, who is our acting Scott Wasserman for the evening. Students in Government Day is something that we do once a year, and the idea is really to bring young people in to local government so they can get an appreciation for how public policy is made, and I think really just how they can influence their community. And that's what we hope to accomplish today. And I would encourage any of our participants, you are paired with professionals here in the city. We are absolutely open if any of you want to contact us after tonight if you have any questions or you'd like to explore the government career, because it is really very, very rewarding on many levels. So that said, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah.
Please.
I'd just like to thank the little city council here for just putting this on, because it really is a transformative experience to have. It's one thing learning about it in a textbook and having classroom discussions. It's another truly being in the active environment, having conversations, learning about the inner workings, and it's just really wonderful experience. And I'm honestly quite shocked that I haven't heard about it before. And so I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, at this time, before we go into having the students with their counterparts introduce themselves, we're going to pull up Scott Wasserman again, and he's going to talk about the Parks and Rec volunteer recognition. He can't do it without you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Madam Mayor. At this time, I'm actually going to introduce Recreation Coordinator Orlando Soto. He's going to talk about our volunteer recognition.
We've had nothing but a bunch of errors.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council and students and government attendees. My name is Orlando Soto. I am the Recreation Coordinator. This evening, we gather to celebrate the remarkable accomplishments of our amazing volunteers. The Parks and Recreation Department would like to express our deepest gratitude to all your time and dedication. Volunteers are the backbone of any successful endeavor, successfully giving their time, energy, and expertise to make a positive impact in the lives of others in our community. Their contributions immeasurable, their passion unwavering, and their commitment truly inspiring. Over the past year, we had 58 volunteers that contribute just over 800 volunteer hours. In total, we had about 58 volunteers. And in addition, May is recognized as Older American Month, and we will be recognizing our senior volunteers in May. To our 14 volunteers in attendance and 14 not present, we want to say thank you for your unwavering dedication. Thank you for your boundless compassion, and thank you for being the heart and soul of our organization. So now I'm going to call our first volunteer up to the front. We have Sodisha Nara. David Montrose. Aaron Lee. Anthony Lee. Joshua Byrne. Ko Kahashi. Isabella Renteria. Ratakshika Kaila. Aditi Stowitz. Tiffany Jones. And last but certainly not least, Ian Jones. Thank you, everyone.
Before they all escape, I just want to say thank you to the volunteers. We as a city can't do what we do without you. And we truly appreciate the fact that you've given your time for us. And the community really realizes that we're not very much of a city without our volunteers. But thank you. We have from older to younger. Thank you very much. As Mayor Morris said many times over his 30-plus years up here, he can't do this without a script, and if he screws up the script, he's in trouble. So we have a script, and we've now screwed it up several times. So I apologize for that. But what we're going to do here right now is we have a lot of students that are here representing their school, and each one of us has someone representing us. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them introduce themselves all the way through it, and then at the end, we're going to have them speak, tell us what they think they've figured out what we're doing, or tell us how we can straighten it out. The reality is I want to hear, at some point, I want to hear where they're going to go to school, what they're going to be doing. So We have a very short agenda today, so we're going to make sure that we don't get out of here till midnight or so. Okay? I'm going to have the mayor introduce herself first because she's been doing the walking back and forth, and I want to give her an opportunity to take a seat. Okay? And Chris, would you call each one as we go here to make sure that we get the people in the audience that are the Scotts and the Mikes and those people with their representatives.
Sure.
Okay? And this is yours.
My name is Eva Yassin. I am a senior at San Dimas High School, and I plan on going to USC to study political science on the pre-law track. Fight on.
Oh, my goodness.
Ryan wore a shirt so she could remember what school she was going to go to. Okay?
I'd like to introduce Leilani Ignacio. She's my counterpart for the evening.
Hi, I'm Leilani. I'm a senior at San Dimas High School, and I hope to attend Boston College, studying political science on the pre-law track. Thank you.
Nice.
I have with me John Shehata. Hi, my name is John Shehata. I am a senior at San Dimas, and I plan on attending UCR as a neuroscience major. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce Councilwoman Barry.
Hi, I'm Noah Barry. I'm a senior also at San Dimas High School, and I'm currently undecided for college, but I'm planning to major in environmental studies, hopefully to go into law school and do environmental law, so yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask Parks Director Scott Wasserman to come forth and have the acting Parks and Recreation Director introduce herself.
Well, there we go. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'd like to introduce Eva Gallegos, your Parks and Recreation Director.
Hi, I'm Eva Gallegos, and I'm planning to go to UCR and double major in creative writing and English.
I also like to have the acting Public Works Director come up with our Public Works Director, Sherry Garwick.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Madam Mayor and council members. I'm Sherry Garwick. I'm the Director of Public Works, and with me I have Natalia Lopez.
I'm Natalia Lopez. I'm also a senior at San Dimas High School. I'm still undecided for college, but as of right now, I'm thinking UC Berkeley for a dual degree program in aerospace, engineering, and business.
We're going to get her to go civil.
No bias there. I'd like the acting Community Development Director to come forward with our Community Development Director, Luis Torico.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, and visiting students. I'd like to introduce Miley Rios. She's the acting Director of Community Development.
Hi, I'm Miley. I'm also a senior at San Dimas High School. I'm planning to go to Monsac for my first 2 years and then transferring to Fullerton to become a nurse in the pediatrics wing.
Next, I'd like to ask the acting Assistant City Manager to come forth and introduce themselves with our Assistant City Manager, Brad McKinney.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Brad McKinney, Assistant City Manager, and with me I have our Acting Assistant City Manager, Diego Sasueta.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Diego Sasueta. I'm a senior at San Dimas High School. I plan to go to UCLA and study computer science with a focus in artificial intelligence and double major in business. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Datweiler. I am the city manager. I'm going to Weber State University, and I'm planning to study creative writing.
Awesome, Mr. Mayor. I'll turn it over to my colleague, the city attorney.
Good evening, mayors. I'm City Attorney Jeff Malavi, and I'd like to introduce the acting city attorney tonight, Nick Tedavosian.
Hello, everybody. I am a senior at San Dimas High School, as everyone here is as well. I hope to go to UCLA or UC Irvine and study business economics and become an attorney, a corporate law lawyer.
And Mr. Mayor, our acting captain is out on patrol with our captain from the station, Waleed Ashrafnia, so unfortunately they're not able to introduce themselves here. So we're now with the most important person that makes this all happen during a council meeting, our city clerk, Deborah Black. I will turn it over to her.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Deborah Black. I am the city clerk, and the acting city clerk besides me is Sterling Bailey.
Hello there, my name is Starlene Bailey. I'm a senior at San Dimas High School, skipping my entire junior year to end up graduating early. My plan is to go to Fullerton to pursue a mechanical engineering degree.
The last individual that we should introduce is a person that has a tremendous influence on these students in their education, their teacher, Dave Milbrand.
Hi, my name is Dave Milbrandt. I have the privilege of spending time with these students throughout this year and have spent several years with Students in Government Day. I want to thank you so much, the Parks and Recreation Department, and of course City Council and staff for putting on a wonderful event this year. Thank you for opening up your doors and your chambers so that they can get the chance to learn about how student government works. And Mayor Pro Tem Vienna, I'll try to pitch a little bit of USC. I'll do what I can for you, man, but I got a lot of UCLA fans here, so I'm doing what I can, sir. Thank you so much for opening your doors and your time and your what you do to help them see how city works and how we can make things better in our community and around the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, I think there are also parents in the audience of the students. That would be nice to recognize them for dedicating the time to bring their students, their children here to actually have an opportunity to see how government works.
You want to say something nice?
To all the parents who are out there supporting us today, thank you so much for coming out and supporting us, and also supporting us for the last 12 years of our education. None of us would be up here without you guys. Thank you.
Did I understand you to say our student is with the captain on a ride-along?
Figuratively, yes.
All right. Good luck, Captain. The reality is the captain is the guy around here that keeps us all squared away, and the student that's with him is very, very fortunate to have his experience with him, and I'm hoping he can keep the captain straight. Okay? So we're going to move to oral communications.
We're now moving to oral communications. Members of the audience are invited to address the City Council on any item of this agenda or not on this agenda. Public comment will not be taken during each individual agenda item except for public hearing items. Comments on public hearing items will be heard when that item is scheduled for discussion. Under the provisions of the Brown Act, the legislative body is prohibited from engaging in discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. However, your concerns may be referred to staff or set for discussion at a later date. Each speaker will be limited to speaking once for up to 3 minutes.
Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Our first speaker is Anil Rivers with the topic of horses located at Shadow Wolf's Ranch.
Good evening, folks. How you doing? My name is Anil Rivers, and I'm a resident of the Shadow Wolf Ranch over here on Baseline Road. And this is my son, Ashton. And well, I just wanted to say a few words on behalf of the ranch, and I understand that there's been some issues with regards to some horses on the property and whatnot. You know, I showed up 4 years ago in San Dimas with my youngest son, Ashton, here, who was on the autism spectrum. Well, when he showed up on the ranch, Ashton was nonverbal. He did not speak at all. We were unfortunately had to put him our last place because of some noise issues with him and whatnot, and we cannot live in a house that has connected walls. It's just not possible. When Ashton came to the ranch, first thing he noticed were the horses in the back. He came, he walked around, he kind of looked around here, and he would always kind of wander in the back and whatnot. And then one day, like a miracle, Ashton said, "Can I have horse?" Those were his first words. First words I ever heard my son speak were, "Can I have horse?" You know, and I got to tell you guys, the hardest part about being an autism parent is not, you know, the behavior issues. It's not, you know, the therapies and whatnot. It's watching your son grow up without any friends. It's a loneliness. It's an isolated type of existence. And those horses are the closest thing that my son has to friends in this world. Every night after his ABA therapy, he gets 10 hours of ABA a week, 4 hours, 4 to 6 p.m. And by 6:05 p.m., these residents here can attest to that. You can usually find Ashton in the back by the corrals looking at the horses. It's what he looks forward to. And, you know, I understand that there's, you know, a law that needs to be followed, absolutely. But, you know, I just feel that for what it's worth, you know, I just wanted to say a few words on behalf of the Brown family and the other residents on the ranch, and that, you know, sometimes there is a difference between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And for what it's worth, I just want to thank you guys for the time to come up here and speak. And Ashton, do you want to say anything?
Yeah,
you want to
sure.
Oh.
say thank you? You want to say thank you?
Thank you.
And I appreciate you guys for your time, and for what it's worth to the Brown family. Also, thank you for your years. I've been there almost 5 years now, and very much enjoy my home. And also to my neighbors. You guys are great, man. I love the community that I live in, and thank you. And this is a great community. I love San Dimas, and I wouldn't rather live anywhere else. That's my time. You guys have a great one.
Thank you, sir.
Our second speaker of the night is Raymond E. Foster.
Good evening, Mr. and Madam Mayor, City Council members, city staff, students, and fellow community members. 22,000 active duty families, 213,000 National Guard reservists, and 1.2 million veterans receive federal food assistance. There are food pantries on major military bases in the United States. The three surrounding us have them. Well, we had our fourth semi-annual food drive conducted by the Rotary Club of San Dimas and our many, many partners. And I'm going to tell you that Monday we delivered to 29 Palms Marine Corps Base 8.25 tons of food and supplies. And on Monday we delivered also to Camp Pendleton 1 ton. It was our first test to run down to Pendleton. In September, when we do it again, we'll be expanding to Fort Irwin. And I want to thank the City Council. You all participated. But especially, I want everyone to know that 3 of our City Council members met the weight challenge. They donated their weight in supplies and food. For some of this was more challenging than it was for others. But thank you to Councilman Weber, Nakano, and Vienna for your efforts, and for Mr. Mayor coming down there and also making your donation. We sincerely appreciate it. Now, you might notice I have the official San Dimas 2026 sweatshirt on with the city logo on it. The 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence here in the city of San Dimas, and there is a community committee that's been planning this, the event on that date for some time. And not only do I have the sweatshirt, which you can get one, you can get a polo, you can get all kinds of things at sandimas2026.com, but I am pushing commemorative pins. These pins have that identical logo on them. They're 1 inch in diameter, and they're only $15. Can you believe that? What a deal. So that's what we got coming on. Now, Rotary also has this month, Rotary Leadership Youth Academy. We'll be spending 2 students up there. Lastly, we had a lady come speak at our Rotary Club meeting from Ukraine. While she was speaking to us, they were shelling her house or her neighborhood. And the nonprofit there replaces blown out windows in schools. And on the spot, the Rotary Club members find themselves enough, $850, we raised it internally, to replace 57 windows in a school, and we could hear the shelling as that was going on. So those are the kind of things your Rotary Club does, sandimasrotary.org, sandimas2026.com, go get your sweatshirt, and I also have the pins. Thank you very much.
Our third and final speaker is Kevin Brown with the topic of codes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mrs. Mayor, all of the council, and all of my neighbors, okay? I'm here, my goal is to basically get, in my words, a stay of execution concerning the future of the ranch. I had a visit from Code Inspector Ryan Hale. The same day he inspected, he served me a copy that I'd like to see that the mayor gets to see. I would also like to know is there a bailiff here? Or if the mayor deems proper, if that could be circulated, a copy to the other city council members. And this is the document stating, I think this is important. It's hard to read the printing, but it can be done. Sorry for the delay. Also, I really owe a compliment to Esau Ramos of the City Works Department for the beautiful job him and crew did on the north side of Baseline. There was as much as 7 feet of asphalt missing on what used to be Route 66 100 years ago, now Interstate 30. Little more to go, but be patient. This job took place last year, and it's magnificently done. Now, a bit about my parents. My mom came out here from Kansas because of the Dust Bowl. 7 people in a Model A. She became, with the U.S. Army Air Corps, yet a civilian, ran the teletype base at Shelley Air Force Base, which is the highest security clearance a civilian can have, equal to our computers today, except pre-computer. My dad, not so lucky, he was born in L.A., abandoned at 2 years old, went from orphanage to foster home to severe juvenile facilities like Fred C. Nell School for Boys, Whittier, California, where unfortunately he witnessed the murder of a Jewish inmate. The guards hung the victim. It was found out, it became a gigantic scandal. My dad was offered that if they forged some papers, they could get him into any branches of the service that he wanted to go. He chose the Army Air Corps, where he did 25 combat missions over Nazi-occupied Europe, came back, and I'm the oldest son. My point about that is, I've had a lifetime of stories, tragic stories about orphans, homeless, hobo camps, and what not having a home can do. Shadow Wolf Ranch, I didn't plan on it to be a rescue, but it's turned out that way. The letter that I hopefully is circulated is my all-star example. A lady that came to me over 8 years ago now, and is now back on her feet with living in Flagstaff at her choice. The prejudice seems like against this. My ranch, on 2 visits from Inspector Hale, the complaints were that I had ostriches, peacocks, somebody living in a tree, and that I sell guns. The guns part is true, but I sell antiques, museum quality stuff, all legal. The second one was from a disgruntled homeless lady that I let live there free in lieu of painting. She didn't produce. I asked her to leave. She ratted the ranch out, stating that she had no heat, which is not true, had no water, which is not true, and had no bathroom. We've got 3 bathrooms for the men, 3 bathrooms for the women, 2 showers, a kitchen, a front gate that closes. It's one of the most secure places in San Dimas, especially if you were a homeless person. Now, I've reached out. The deadline for my people to evacuate on 3 of the buildings, one has been there since 1932.
Excuse me, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
I'm sorry that we have a time limit.
We're out of time.
We're out of time, but
Okay.
could you talk with the assistant city manager about this issue, and then he will make sure someone gets in touch with you?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, if Chris, if you could just please make sure I get that gentleman's information and the gentleman before that regarding that matter, please.
Yes, the gentleman before had left, but we'll seek his information and get both.
Thank you.
Right?
There are no more speaker cards.
At this time, is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question to a council member?
Seeing none, we'll move to the consent calendar. Seeing none, we'll move to the consent calendar.
See none, we will move to the consent calendar.
All items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted with one motion unless a member of the city council requests separate discussion. We will be removing consent item number 5, the annual housing and progress report, and item 8, municipal code text amendment relating to stormwater management and discharge for separate discussions and vote. Motion.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Say second.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing
We
none?
need to do a roll call vote because we have the remote council member.
All right. Madam Clerk, would you read the roll?
Councilmember Nakano,
Aye.
Councilmember Weber,
Aye.
Councilmember Ebner,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Viana,
Yes.
Mayor Bedar.
Yes.
Record will reflect the consent calendar passes by a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, can we have the clerk repeat the motion and the second for the official record to ensure we have the right council members?
I believe the motion was made by Councilmember Ebner. I couldn't really hear.
It was me.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Weber and second by Councilmember Nakano.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to item number 5, consent calendar, item number 5. Staff?
Mr. Mayor, we'll turn it over to Community Development. Kimberly Nustis.
Good evening, mayors, city council members, staff, and public. My name is Kimberly Nustis. I'm the Senior Management Analyst for the Community Development Department. In April every year, all cities in California are required to update the California State Department of Housing and Community Development on their progress towards the 2021 to 2029 housing element by submitting the Housing Element Annual Housing Report. This report shows the city's progress towards projects entitled New Residential Housing Permits Issued and Programs Developed for the 2023 calendar year. By providing this report, it qualifies the city for state housing, community development, and transportation funding, and gives us the ability to apply for various grants. Additionally, the information in this report includes the jurisdiction's progress in addressing the regional housing needs allocation, otherwise known as RHNA, numbers, which for San Dimas is 1,248 for the 6th cycle. Again, that reporting year is 2021 to 2029. What this means is the city has to plan for putting the zoning in place to accommodate these units. It's not a mandate for these units to be built, but for the city to plan for them. This year, San Dimas is reporting 32 new residential units in the above moderate category. Staff will continue to implement the existing housing programs identified in our housing element while exploring new ideas, funding, and partnerships to support the city's commitment towards achieving the city's RHNA goals and to stay in compliance with the approved housing element. Staff recommends that City Council receive and file the 2023 Housing Element Annual Report and direct staff to submit the report to the California State Department of Housing and Community Development by the April 1st deadline. That concludes my report. Louis and our acting director are here. We can answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much.
Anyone wishing to ask any questions of either Louis or Kimberly?
Thank you, Kimberly, for the report and all the tables that you had to fill out to fulfill this annual requirement. I'm interested in especially the RHNA numbers, as you said, the regional housing needs allocation. And as you know, this is a period from 2021 to 2029 that San Dimas was allocated 1,248 units to be built. And over the years, some units have been built, single family, ADUs, whatever. And so according to the report on Table B, which is page 91 of the agenda packet. It's really small, but if you look at it, it'll tell you that we've built a number, looks like 81 altogether. So our number is now down to 1,167, right?
Yes, sir.
And I noticed that over the years we have built, and we're required to encourage or allow the building of a certain number of low and very low income units. And that number, if I'm not mistaken, I think I had it someplace, was 603 total, the very low and the low. And in the first 3 years now, we've we've had 1 unit built. So we're down to 602. And so my question is, what is the plan? Because this is something the state is and the county regional body told us we had to try to get these 603 low and very low units, 602 to go. What is the plan going forward to encourage and try to make sure that the low and very low needs are met?
Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and give that question over to the director, Louis Tirico, and he can help explain that a little bit better.
Thank you, Kimberly. Again, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, and visiting students. My name is Louis Tirico, Director of Community Development, and with me I have our Acting Director of Community Development.
Hello, I'm Miley Rios.
And in terms of the affordability, currently we don't have anything in place. As part of the housing element, we were required to explore the feasibility of adopting an inclusionary housing ordinance. And I'll let Acting Director Rios give you some information on that right now.
The Community Development Department has been working with the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments on a study to determine if an inclusionary housing ordinance is feasible in the city of San Dimas. We expect to complete the study this summer and will report the findings to the council.
So once that analysis is completed, we'll come back to the council and report those findings. The main thing is to whether or not it's actually feasible to adopt an ordinance. So that's what we're being tasked with as part of the housing element and what we'll do. Another thing as well, even though we don't have a requirement to do affordable units, we are in the process of working on the downtown specific plan, which is going to rezone a lot of the properties to allow residential. And we also have the housing sites identified in the housing element. with minimum densities. And in the event that we've actually been approached by several developers on some of these housing sites, and they're asking for changes, either increased density or lower density, those changes don't have to be approved by the council. So when we look at those legislative actions, we ask the applicants, what's the benefit to the community? So in situations like that, we ask if we're going to consider a change in the density, then potentially the benefit is that you produce some affordable units as part of the overall development. So that's one way that we can actually get these units as well.
And just to follow up for the public's benefit, can you explain what an inclusionary zone is actually?
Sure. So an inclusionary housing ordinance is when a city has an inclusionary housing ordinance in place, it'll range anywhere between 10 and 20%. So what that means, if I'm a builder and I come into the city and build 100 units and the inclusionary requirement is 20%, then I have to, of those 100 units, 20 of them have to be affordable to low-income families. And they have to be covenanted, which means there's a document that's recorded against those units. They'll be more likely affordable for a minimum of 55 years. So that's what an inclusionary housing ordinance is. That's a way that you can require developers to provide affordable housing units.
All right, great. There's a lot to that, and I appreciate you taking it and giving the report. And I'd like my counterpart here, if it's okay with the council, to make a motion for this matter, unless there are other questions or comments.
I had one request, Luis. Just in the spirit of Councilman Ebner, would you also mind explaining really briefly for our participants today what the housing element is and why we file these reports? I think having that additional context could be helpful for them understanding what our role here is and why we're discussing this today.
Sure, of course. So every city in the state of California has to submit a housing element to the state every 8 years. What this document is, every 8 years, the state looks at each single region in the state and identifies what the housing need is for those individual regions. So for this current planning period that we're in, which is in 2021 through 2029, we were allocated 1,248 units that we have to plan for. That's what the state identified that San Dimas has to accommodate for the next 8 years in terms of units. The city has to plan for these units, which means they have to put the zoning in place to allow either new residential in certain areas or higher density in certain areas. So we have to plan for it, but again, as Kimberly mentioned, it's not a mandate to build those units, but we have to make every effort for the market to build those units. We have to put the plan in place. So every 8 years, we do have to adopt this document. Along with that, there's programs that are adopted as part of the document that the cities are supposed to comply with during the 8-year period. Programs could be, for example, one of the programs that I mentioned earlier was that we were tasked with the requirement to explore the adoption of an inclusionary housing ordinance. So that's just one program. We were required to comply with 27 programs, so we'll have to do that in the next 8 years with the overall goal of improving housing in the city. And it's important to note that cities that don't have an adopted and certified housing element are essentially in violation of state law, and that can put them at risk of losing funding from the state, which we use to do certain programs, housing programs. So it's very important that we stay in compliance with this housing element. You're welcome.
I'd like to ask my counterpart to make the motion.
I move that we receive and file that report.
I second that motion.
Any further questions?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, roll call.
Roll call.
Councilmember Eric Weber,
Yes.
Councilmember Eric Nakano.
Aye.
Councilmember John Ebner,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Ryan A. Viena,
Yes.
Mayor Emmett Bader.
Yes.
Record will reflect that motion passed by a 5-0 vote.
And the motion was made by Councilmember Ebner and seconded by Councilmember Nakano.
Thank you very much.
We'll move on to oral communications.
We're moving on to oral communications. Members of the audience are limited 3 minutes or as may be determined by the chair.
Oh. Okay, go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
We're actually moving on to item number 8
Oh, the consent calendar.
of the consent calendar.
Okay, staff?
Good evening, Mr. and Miss Mayor and Council. This report will be given by Lauren Marshall.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, student government, students. Thanks for coming tonight. My name is Lauren Marshall. I'm the Senior Management Analyst for the Public Works Department. And tonight, staff is recommending the approval and adoption of Ordinance 1306, amending 14.11 Stormwater Management and Discharge and Chapter 14.13 Low Impact Development of the San Dimas Municipal Code to align and comply with the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board's current municipal separate storm sewer system permit, or rather known as the MS4 permit. Very quickly, what is stormwater? Stormwater is water running over land during or immediately after a rainstorm. It includes dry weather runoff from sprinklers, car washing, etc. Here in the San Gabriel Valley, it mainly originates from paved surfaces, parking lots, certain park areas, streets. The stormwater is typically captured through local drainage systems, known as storm drains, managed by local government agencies like cities and counties. These storm drain systems typically connect to a county-wide system, and in the San Gabriel Valley, our storm drain systems usually connect to infrastructure owned and maintained by LA County Flood Control District. And these systems convey or move the water into our waterways that eventually end up into the Pacific Ocean. So in our case, it's actually the Long Beach Harbor. The goal for all stormwater programs is for this water to be free of contaminants such as bacteria and other pollutants such as oil from cars, fertilizers from soil, from entering our waterways. Maybe. Thank you. The requirements states follow regarding stormwater quality originate from the federal government. The Environmental Protection Agency's Clean Water Act it was U.S. legislation that was enacted in 1972 to restore and maintain clean and healthy waters. The CWA was a response to increasing public concern for the environment and the condition of the nation's waters. This act establishes the minimum stormwater requirements that states must follow. States also have the ability to create more stringent requirements on top of those mandated by the government. For example, the Los Angeles permit that the city of San Dimas follows is one of the most stringent permits nationwide. The permit acts as an outline for compliance. It encourages the use of minimum control measures such as street sweeping to keep leaves, trash, and other debris out of the storm drain system, green infrastructure that can help filter and capture water, low-impact development, and multi-benefit regional projects, which means it would benefit across cities and regions. In California, stormwater regulations are managed by the State Water Resources Control Board through 9 regional water quality control boards. The city of San Dimas is regulated, as I just mentioned, by the LA region. The Water Board requires municipal jurisdictions to achieve specific stormwater standards through the MS4 permit, or the stormwater permit, and periodically the states update this permit. The most recent permit became effective on September 11th, 2021. For compliance and alignment purposes with this new permit, staff is updating chapters 14.11 and chapters 14.13 of the San Dimas Municipal Code. Staff is only recommending updates to these code chapters that meet the minimum requirements of the permit, so adhering to the requirements is not burdensome for the community to follow. Updating Chapter 14.11 and 14.13 of the city's municipal code by Ordinance 1306 will allow staff to continue to keep the city in compliance with the stormwater permit while offering code text that is clearer in terms of what is expected for compliance versus, say, the city directing someone to the water board or asking them to read the stormwater permit. Exactly. So the permit prior to this was adopted in 2012. It had a few updates in 2015. And again, the permit outlines what is required of cities to adhere to in terms of regulations to maintain acceptable water quality standards with respect to stormwater and non-stormwater discharges. Next slide. So for clarification, the code as it's written now does comply with the new stormwater permit. However, as it's written, it's less clear for a layperson to understand and thereby comply with, as it was originally written with more generalized language to ensure city compliance. This code update recommends more specific language for residents and businesses alike to have the ability to look up the code and see a clearly defined set of regulations to follow. The city also makes this information available to the community through pamphlets and the city's website, which further reinforce the stormwater procedures to adhere to. For example, how to dispose of certain types of waste to ensure it doesn't enter our local waterways, such as pet waste, motor oil, and other contaminants. In fact, staff have included 2 infographics in the spring recreation guide on how residents can also comply with stormwater laws and how to properly maintain their own sewer system. Basically drawing the parallel between the two, that they are 2 separate things. One goes straight to the ocean and one is processed by the county sanitation. Next slide. Additionally, similar changes to Chapter 14.13, which is low-impact development, are recommended for adoption. Again, this includes more consistent language with the stormwater permit that is more straightforward to follow. And just for clarification for everyone here, low-impact development is stormwater and land use management strategies that try to mimic natural water flows as if there wasn't pavement somewhere or development somewhere. So they do this through conservation, the use of on-site natural features. So the lower left-hand corner of the slide here shows a bioswale where water will infiltrate, whether it's rainwater or irrigation water, through the soil before it enters and be cleaned and filtered before it enters the water table. So the LID best management practices emphasize basically before development processes. So infiltration, filtration, storage, evaporation. Common LID practices include bioretention, rain gardens, permeable pavement, which means the water can soak through, again, to be filtered before it enters the water table through the pavement. Minimal excavation foundations, vegetated roofs, rainwater harvesting. So when there is development or redevelopment projects in the city, staff work to ensure these developers are integrating some of these techniques to meet permit compliance and water quality goals. So one of the other things that low impact development requires is that when these developments are actually occurring, we have things in place, like on the slide here on the right-hand side, you see things like sandbags, you see gravel bags, silt fences. So the goal is to keep everything on a construction site. So case in point, if you're developing something that used to be a fruit orchard, you're going to have a lot of fertilizers in that soil. So that's something that, especially in San Dimas and the San Gabriel Valley, we have to worry about. So we want to keep everything on the site so that nothing enters the storm drain system and then gets to our waterways and starts to make animal life sick, impacts our water quality, costs more money to actually fix our water quality. So those are all of the intentions with keeping everything on a development site. Next slide. So as you can see from the previous slides, there is a lot to stormwater compliance, especially as it relates to cost. In total, the city spends over $500,000 just in direct costs annually between Safe Clean Water funding and the general fund. Direct costs include permit fees to the State Water Board, which are approximately $23,000 a year, consulting costs for project development, stormwater plan updates, stormwater quality monitoring, And most recently, this municipal code update, which was almost $12,000 plus staff time. Other direct costs that are covered by our Safe Clean Water funds include measures such as catch basin cleaning, channel clearing, employee stormwater training, which takes place annually, public outreach, education, and enforcement activities. All of the aforementioned activities also have indirect costs, namely staff time for tasks like construction site inspections, industrial commercial facility inspections, and filing numerous reports to state and county agencies multiple times per year. Where possible, the costs are transferred directly to the business or property that it applies to as a pass-through fee. Now, I mentioned the industrial commercial inspections. It's a perfect example of how the costs associated with permit compliance for the history of the permits since going back to 2001. Cities have petitioned and provided feedback to the State Water Board, trying to make sure that residents are heard, businesses are heard, that it's not only a financial impact to cities, it's also a financial impact to our residents, it's a financial impact to our businesses. So the permit stipulates certain things that everybody has to follow, and that does become very burdensome. So we try to walk that line between following the state law and also helping our residents as much as possible and providing that support wherever we can. Next slide. Thank you. And finally, staff recommends that the City Council adopt Ordinance 1306 by title, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Dimas, California, amending San Dimas Municipal Code Chapter 14.11 and 14.13 of Title 14, Water and Sewers, updating the stormwater management and discharge and low-impact development requirements for new development and redevelopment projects, and incorporating the Regional Phase 1 Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System MS4 permit requirements associated with discharge and connection to the storm drain system and control of stormwater and non-stormwater runoff. And that concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Any questions?
I move that we adopt Ordinance 1306 with the text amendments as proposed by staff to ensure we remain in compliance with state law.
I second the motion.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Mr. Mayor, actually, yes, I had raised a hand here, but I'm in cyberspace.
Well, I see the hand up there, but I didn't see it now. It's in yellow.
Yeah, sorry, it was before the motion was made, but nevertheless, I did have questions for staff.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you. Is Lauren still there? Because all I see is me at this point.
Lauren is
I'm here.
Okay. Hey, number one is thank you. I'm not sure, why was this item pulled from the consent calendar?
It was pulled to allow the opportunity for the students to hear how items are deliberated.
Well, it was quite the perfect item to pull then. Lauren, so thank you. Last time we heard this item, I abstained from that vote, largely because, to be frank, it was missing the piece that you added here with the the fiscal impact of this.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I had gone back and reviewed some of the notes. And in 2015, 16, 17, this was a pretty contentious issue related to the obligations of both the city and the impact of the residents. So thank you for presenting that. I am curious if you have a ballpark number that you could share with the community related to what they can expect to see if they have a project, understanding that can be variable based on size. But if there was an estimate in terms of the escalator in cost from when this was implemented to now, what does that look like for people?
You know, we really don't know because each project is so unique to its own. That hasn't been something that we've been able to establish.
Okay. Is there a, based off of the change we're going to make today, is there anything in this that is going to cause people or transfer more costs to people than was previously done, or is there only language cleanup related to that?
There is the potential for additional costs because the previous permit only required folks to have inspections for industrial commercial inspections twice during the life of the 2012 permit. And this was actually one of the things that cities argued the most is now it's every 2 years for the duration of the permit. So there will be more frequent inspections required.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Eric Weber,
Yes.
Councilmember Eric Nakano,
Aye.
Councilmember John Ebner,
Yes.
Mayor Ryan Vienna,
Yes.
Thanks for the promotion.
Mayor Emnet Bedar.
You know, Ryan brings up a couple of interesting things that I'm not sure the council has really talked about the future of these every 2 years. I'll ask the city clerk or city manager as well as the city attorney. Is there any reason why this could not be continued in case there are further questions by the council? Because I'm just not 100% sure that I'm 100% confident that I understand exactly what's going on. And even though Ryan's long far away, I see that brain of his up there working.
I'll withdraw my vote at this moment then.
So I just don't know. Are we at a position where we can continue this, or are we at a time element?
I don't know if we're on a time deadline from Public Works perspective, but from my perspective, there's no legal problem with continuing it.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure how many people hang on here. Our Public Works, she's jumping up, waving her hands.
Can I just ask about the sequence of doing things here, Jeff, maybe? We're in the middle of a roll call vote, so what's the proper procedure?
The motion basically has passed to adopt this ordinance because we have 3 yes votes and 2 abstentions. So,
okay, so it's passed, but we can have a further comment and additional.
If everybody would like to withdraw their votes and you want to continue this item, that would be fine.
I'm going to abstain.
If the mayor would like to deliberate this or ask any further questions in the future, I would absolutely be okay withdrawing my vote. And
now I'm getting a hand up from the city manager.
Just to clarify, we can delay it if you'd like. My understanding from the presentation is this is current state law that we must comply with. The codification of the law in the municipal code is intended to provide clarity to developers or anybody else that's going to do work with the city, that they can go to the code and actually see the requirements where they're not currently existing in the form required under law. But we would still be applying the law, even if it's not in our municipal code.
If I may, there is also the industrial and commercial inspection RFP will be coming back for council to have to approve. So you will know exactly what that fee pass-through is to businesses before it happens. If that would be helpful.
Okay.
I'm with you, Mayor, that to be honest, I'd like to know what those fees are. That's what I was trying to get at. If you recall, when this item was discussed in 2016, 2017, Mayor Morris and others were really concerned with what those fees were and the burden to the city as well as to those who would be passed through to. So I'm guessing it's probably a sizable number. It's probably prudent to know what that is before we finish this off, but that's just me.
Well,
so wouldn't the proper order of business be for a member who voted in favor to ask to reconsider?
That's exactly what the proper item of business would
Okay,
be.
so I think somebody has to make a motion who voted in favor to reconsider the item, and then we can
If I may ask
do something
a
else.
question. Jeff, considering that the guidance that we'd received from staff is that the vote today is to update the text to reflect state law and provide clarification to those operating in the city. By not updating it, withdrawing the vote, reversing it, does that expose the city to potentially any liability since there isn't the clarifying language in there and the state law says we have to do this? So
No,
is there, okay,
The staff would be
Great.
following the state law.
excellent.
Regardless of whether we update the ordinance.
Excellent.
Like this.
Thank
But
you.
we do still need to update the ordinance.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I think from what I'm hearing, it's very important to get a robust discussion of the fees. And that's, according to staff, it is a separate item that is coming forth to council. It may be something that we may want to consider as a study session first, prior to it coming to council, if that's your pleasure.
So should we continue with this
Well,
vote, or should we?
Has someone made a motion to reconsider the vote?
So I think what we're getting at here is that we're in the middle of the roll call vote. We hadn't quite finished it yet. I think both Ryan and I were ayes at the point that we paused, and I think both of us have voiced the thought that if you're of the mind to discuss this a little bit further, that we were open to that. So I'll make a motion that we reconsider the item and discuss it more in depth at a date uncertain, I suppose.
Second.
Any further questions?
Just a question for maybe Lauren, and thanks for the great report as always, by the way. So what would be the difference between adopting this ordinance, as we just did, and having a discussion on the fees in a study session or something like that? The difference between that path and the path of rescinding our adoption at this point and having that discussion about the fees. And Ryan, there may be other things you want to discuss besides the fees. Okay, so is there really a difference, or is it?
Well,
I'm trying to think of what the robust discussion is actually going to produce.
as the city manager and the city attorney have said, we have to adhere to the state law. And we will be bringing any fees for your consideration before anything is put in place.
And so my question to my colleague, Councilmember Vienna, is, like, in addition to the fees, what other parts do you think we would want to discuss, or the council would want to discuss?
I mean, to be totally honest with you, I really think there should be a presentation from staff that really picks up the 2016-17 discussion, lays out where we were in this, goes through what the updates were to get us to where we're at. Because as the mayor pointed out, this is very convoluted and very complicated related to what this is and the changes that have transpired. So if nothing else, I think just further clarity so people understand sequentially how it is. Because that, to be honest, that's what I heard between the last meeting and this meeting, was people were going, the last time council really discussed this was a major deal that we took a study session and we took a number of council meetings to discuss through this. I think the fee discussion is also relevant so people really understand where we're going with it. And if there's flexibility in the fees, then that's maybe something we should discuss or not, or decide accordingly what we're going to do with it. But at least we're all clear on what the policy is, at least from our seats and for the public's benefit.
Well, I'm satisfied the staff will be following state law, whether we have this clarifying ordinance or not.
Correct. That's what it was meant to do, was to clarify what was required of folks to follow. So it was easy for them to understand.
I'm sorry. Right. So I think it will make it more understandable, but in the interest of just collegiality, I will support the withdrawal or the rescinding of the approval and look forward to the council's robust discussion as Ryan laid out in the near future.
Note the presentation portion of that, John, and then discussion.
Just to clarify, because I didn't hear if the original vote was completed, because the mayor, if the mayor didn't make the vote, then the council members can just withdraw their votes and it dies for lack of 3 votes.
Is that how that works?
I'm not sure that I understand it.
I-
Jeff,
I
could you
think-
clear that
I
up?
think we know, regardless of the procedure, there is a motion on the table to reconsider the vote if it was completed or not, and to continue the item for the discussion and presentation that Councilmember Vienna has requested. So I think it'd be appropriate to just vote on that, and that's the outcome of that is what we'll do.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
Roll call.
Councilmember Eric Weber,
Yes.
Councilmember Eric Nakano,
Aye.
Councilmember John Ebener,
Aye.
Mayor Ryan Vina,
Yes.
Mayor Emmett Batter.
Yes.
Motion was made by Councilmember Weber and second by Mayor Pro Tem Viana, and passes by a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. Now we can go to oral communications.
We will now be moving on to oral communications. Members of the audience may have, are limited to 3 minutes or as may be determined by the chair.
Anyone wishing to speak to the council at this time?
Good evening, council members, Mayor Badar, and mini mayor Eva Yassin.
How about just saying daughter?
My name is Samar Yassin, and I am obviously Eva's mother. I just wanted to take a moment to share with you a little bit about our story as San Dimas residents. Eva is a product of the city of San Dimas. She has participated in many of the events and opportunities that the city has provided throughout her 17 years of life. As early on as applying to be Little Miss San Dimas so that she could meet the mayor way back when, to participating in the Parks and Recreation program from age 4 through probably 13 or 14 years old, through Shooting Stars, through participating with programs through Rotary, youth leadership, to the Easter egg hunt, etc. And so as her mother and as a representative of the other parents whose children are here this evening, I just wanted to thank all of you for your commitment and your time and your genuine care for our children in creating a community that helps them to truly thrive. I just want to thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for having our children, and God bless.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Seeing none, we'll move on to city reports. City manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have to say that this is one of the more exciting council meetings for a variety of reasons, but especially because we have with us individuals that are our future. When I look back and the reasons why I got into government, I think back to the days of my history, which my family descended for more than 1,000 years from ancient Greece. And so when I look at the word that I hear, politics, because all of us are politicians, and we initially feel that there's a negativity to that word, we really have to go think about what the ancient Greek definition of that word actually is. And it really is politiki, which is the Greek word that's defined as affairs of the city. It's not affairs of state, it's not affairs of nation, it's affairs of cities. Because in the city-state days of ancient Greece, it was about cities. And so what we're doing here is tremendous and phenomenal that many people don't readily see the impact that we have at the local level, where the 5 council members who set the policy and staff who implement that policy can change forever the outcome of what a community actually looks like. And for students who are coming out and graduating high school, you're already looking at, just based on what you said where you're going and what you're thinking of doing in college, a phenomenal variety of different activities. Well, let me make a pitch for why government should be something you consider. When I look at a corporation, multi-billion-dollar corporation Their budgets are small in comparison in number of pages to the budgets of a local government. Because in government, we have such a tremendous amount of accountability that we have to separate our funds into different pots and then treat them differently and deliberate and discuss in a public venue as you see today, because it's so important the decisions we make and how it impacts the future of the communities we live in. When I decided to leave high tech to come into government, I went to a school. Unfortunately, I should have gone to USC, made that mistake, and ended up going to, although a very good school on the East Coast, the Maxwell School at Syracuse University. Students there, when they graduated, had to give an oath, which is the same oath that was given by those who served in government in ancient Greeks. And I want to read it to you because I think it's very telling about what the goals are for me and those that go into government, and maybe even you when you decide to go into it too. The Athenian oath is as follows. We will ever strive for the ideals and sacred things of the city. Both alone and with many, we will unceasingly seek to quicken the sense of public duty. We will revere and obey the city's laws. We will transmit this city not only, not less, but greater, better, and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us. And if you've lived in the city like you have, Mrs. Mayor, you will realize that compared to other cities, we are in such an incredible gem and are so fortunate for the leadership of this council and previous staff over the last 30 and 40 years that the goal for us is to look forward for the next 50 and ensure we do better. So the challenge I put to you all, I challenge you to come back and help this city do better. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Mr. City Attorney?
Mr. Mayor, Madam Mayor, I just want to say tonight that I am impressed, as I am every year, with the quality and caliber of students that we have here from San Dimas High School, the government class. And I also noticed that we have several up on the dais who have expressed their interest in possibly going to law school, along with Nick here. So that's a good thing. So I've only gotten to give my information to Nick, but if any of you are interested in talking to me, if you're interested in going to law school about maybe the government law path specifically or any type of law, I'm available and you can get my information from Nick or from City Hall.
Thank you. Members of the City Council, council members' reports on meetings attended at the local expense.
Yes, I actually did attend a meeting that was paid for by the city because I think the registration was $20. It was the symposium on homelessness. It was called Challenges and Opportunities. And I traveled with the city manager, the assistant city manager, the director of community development, 2 people from housing. A lot of LA Sheriff's Department personnel were there. And it was held in Arcadia. So that was a week ago, Thursday, February 29th. There were several panels. I won't go into all of them, but I will just mention a couple things that came out of it. One panel talked about enforcement and encampments and talked about the Boise case, which has been heard by the higher courts and ruled that the 8th Amendment against cruel and unusual punishment does not allow any agency, a city or state or county, to make people move from a campsite, homeless people, unless there are beds available to them and offered to them. Now, if they refuse the beds, that's a point of contention right now, actually. If they refuse the beds for whatever reason, then we have an ordinance actually that says we can move them along. But that case is probably going to go to the Supreme Court, and it was the Ninth Circuit, I believe, that ruled on that. The Supreme Court's going to end up ruling on that one. There were other ones as well. The other one I would just mention was under an innovative housing policy panel. One of the things they talked about was inclusionary zoning, which, as our Director of Community Development mentioned, is where you require a certain percentage of houses in larger developments to be housing units, like apartments possibly, to be affordable to low or very low income residents, a policy that I've been advocating for the last 4 years. So with that, that was a very enlightening, and I was glad to see so much staff and the Sheriff's Department there and people from around the county at that meeting. There was probably about 200 people there. It was pretty good.
Okay. You done?
That's it.
Would you like to ask your counterpart if she has some?
No, that was my report. That wasn't my comments at the end yet. Did you want me to do comments now?
Yeah, do your comments.
Okay, we're moving on to comments from and reports and stuff like that. What do I have? I have two things. One was that, oh, yeah, can't forget this. I wanted to congratulate Eric Weber and Rachel Britakos, who were the two winners. The votes are still being counted, but I believe that Eric and Rachel will come out on top in the two districts that had elections this year. So I want to congratulate you on your victories and also on campaigns that were well-run, fair, and clean. So really appreciate it on that. And I look forward to, next meeting will be my last full meeting, and then the swearing in will be in April 9th, so 2 meetings from now, and that'll be really great. The other thing is that since the next meeting is my last full meeting, I wanted to be able to take a little time under council member
John,
matters.
why don't we do that right at the end?
At the end of that
Of this.
Well, I wanted to do it at the next meeting, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention it.
I was told you were doing it now, but that's fine.
Okay, cool. And that's about it. I do want to thank the students for coming out today, and yeah, all the people going into engineering. Yay, Berkeley. I'm trying to think of who said that, but liking that. My son's just graduated, and he's got a job up in Seattle right now. And he was in the engineering program, by the way. So are we?
You want to say something?
Okay, Leilani, you get to say whatever you want for as long as you want.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't go as long, but I just want to thank all of you for.
You know John.
Oh, well, thank you for this opportunity, really. It was very interesting seeing how everybody cooperates. And yeah, I don't really have much to say, but it was amazing, honestly, especially seeing the voting process of the ordinances and even the, taking back your votes, which was very interesting to see. I've never seen that, so it was great. But yeah, thank you.
Mr. Nakano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, we've had many successful events happen over the past few weeks, and I wanted to pay tribute to those events. We had Little League opening and softball opening, so thank you for the organizers for putting that on. Many of us attended and participated, and we enjoyed ourselves. I also wanted to congratulate the Rotary Club for a successful food drive, taking care of those men and women in uniform who are protecting our freedom is very important. I'm very glad that our city is able to play some part in ensuring that they have access to food and other necessities that they need. I want to thank David Mildebrandt and the students who participated today, along with staff. Scott, thank you very much for putting on a successful day in government for our students every year. As our city attorney had mentioned, I'm always so impressed by the students who participate, and I thank you for putting forward your best foot, coming and participating, and I hope to see you one day on the dais myself. I think many of you could be future leaders of the city. I heard many of you are moving away, but I also moved away from the city. I lived in San Dimas, grew up here, moved away and moved back. I think that once you move away, you'll find that the community here is really, really a fantastic one to be a part of, and we're always looking for people to return and to take up the leadership reins of our town. I wanted to echo Councilman Ebner's congratulations, but I want to congratulate all of the candidates who run. Putting yourself forward to the judgment of voters is never an easy thing. And so thank you to all of those who did so, enriching the city with your ideas, your energy, your enthusiasm, and bringing forward new sets of ideas that could help further discussions in City Council as we consider some of the hard decisions that have to be made with respect to our budget and other things. Finally, I wanted to acknowledge that there are many residents in our community who are of Islamic faith. And as you know, Mr. Mayor, on March 10th, that marked the start of Ramadan. So to those residents and everyone else, I say Ramadan Mubarak, and I wish you a good month of fasting and reflection as you take stock of the new year. And lastly, although we had talked about, we had dedicated this month to the Red Cross and to the DMV Donate Life for Month, I also want to acknowledge that March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. And as you know, I had experienced a loss myself. My mother was diagnosed with colon cancer and unfortunately did not survive. Colon cancer is on the rise among young people. I would encourage everyone to take symptoms very seriously and to make sure that you are getting checked regularly to ensure that if you do have any symptoms, you catch the disease early. Those who are diagnosed early have a 90% chance of survival. So it is very important that you get checked and you take colon cancer seriously. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I will return it back to you. Thank you very much for the time. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually want to turn it over to Acting Council Member Barry to say a few words.
I just wanted to give a big thank you to the council members, to the mayor, and just to the city of San Dimas for, putting on this event for us. I am always just so grateful for the opportunity to learn. I think this is just such a wonderful opportunity to learn. I think being able to have, an active classroom is really wonderful, whether it be learning about, rainwater or housing or state law versus city law. I think it's just been a really eye-opening experience to just, see this entire process. And, I consider myself a leader. I consider, obviously, you guys are big leaders. And so being able to see the impact that you guys make and just the thought and consideration that goes into city government is just really fascinating. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Councilman Weber?
Again, echoing everybody else's comments, thank you to all the students that came out for Students in Government Day. I really, truly do look forward to this every year. It is a fun experience for us, too. I think the funnest part for me is the fact that normally when people talk to me about city stuff, they either come to me and complain about a problem, and then no other problems in the city matter to them, and then they're passionate about that one thing, and then they leave. And then I'm left to try to come up with a solution to that. Or they ask me, oh, how's the city stuff going? And then I start to tell them and they say, oh, that's boring. And then let's go talk about some other stuff. So to have other people that are interested in what we're doing up here and want to see how our government works, it's very, very promising. And I love that you guys are here. So thank you all for being here. As John was saying, the election has come and gone. I wanted to thank all the candidates, like Eric mentioned as well. It truly does take a lot of effort to get through a campaign, and you have to really, truly care about the city, regardless of the outcome, to get to the end. So congratulations to Councilmember-elect Rachel Bertakos, and to Julia Panacidi and James Shirley, for all of the effort that they put into the city. I truly, truly, truly hope that everybody, regardless of the outcome, stays involved in the city in one way or the other. I think that is critically important, and it really is what makes our community so great, is that community involvement. We acknowledged all of the volunteers that came out tonight, and for the same reason that they are a strong part of what makes San Dimas so great, so are all of the other volunteers in every other aspect of our community. We truly do have a lot of challenges to tackle in the next 4 years. I don't think over the last 4 years that I've been sitting up here that we've had much of a break. I mean, we had to deal with COVID and some very unprecedented times from the moment that I got elected last time. So I really do look forward to the next 4 years. I really appreciated working with you for the last 4, John. We're going to miss you up here. And a sincere thank you to everybody in the community that supported and believed in me. It really does mean a lot. And I look forward to working with you for the next 4 years at least. Moving on, from the election. I wanted to thank the San Dimas Rotary and all of the other community groups that did that military food drive to support our military families at 29 Palms. Anyone who was in the military, I was in the military, the mayor was a Marine as well. I wasn't a Marine, I was in the Navy, I was smarter than that. Anyone that has driven past or been to the Marine Corps base at 29 Palms knows that it is in the middle of nowhere. There is very little that's around there. There's little to do, and there are full families of our military members that live out there. And whether they can afford food or they're on food assistance, sometimes even just accessing good food is a problem out in 29 Palms because it is very remote. It is not a preferred place for people to be stationed when they're in the Marine Corps. So I really do appreciate all of the community that comes together and brings food to our food pantries on bases. It does really make a difference. And Councilmember Vienna and I really did take on, it sounds like Councilmember Nakano did too, that took on the donating your weight in food. Because Councilmember Vienna is obviously not in town, he asked a favor from me, and that was to go pick up his weight in food, combine it with my weight in food, and I ended up having to take a F-350 long bed diesel truck to the Masonic Lodge and drop off almost a quarter ton of rice that was in the bed of my truck. So we were able to make it happen, and we're happy to help. Every time this rolls around, I'm pleased to participate. So thank you to everybody in the community that not only put this on, but also donated. And that is it for me. I will turn it over to my counterpart.
I would also like to echo the gratefulness for the City Council and Mr. Milbrandt and San Dimas for really involving the younger generation. And if there's anything I would tell the City Council is please continue to keep kids involved, because I believe that a kid's world is the best world. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you very much. Keeping in tradition of the City Council, my counterpart and I are going to go last. But I'm going to let Ryan Vienna go first. Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor. Oh, boy. It's so different when you're not here. I'll tell you, for the students, number one is thank you for coming out. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. As some of you know, I too work in government is my day job. So I'm a lieutenant with a law enforcement agency. So I'm actually at a public safety academy in Northern California and doing my job in my public service that I do full time on top of my elected duties. But, you know, it's funny watching this. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can watch these council meetings from our website if you wanted to. Go to sandimasca.gov, or if you didn't know and you have cable at home, you could watch Channel 3. But watching this tonight, it's like watching paint dry. I got to be honest. We got to use a little bit more upbeat tone here, guys. I understand why people might not show up all the time sometimes, but that being said, for the students, I do want to point out a couple things. You know, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger had said government's first duty and highest obligation is public safety. And I think that you guys being here tonight and what you've seen over the last probably 2-3 years of life really is public safety and public health being a priority. And that's just an everyday type of activities. Everything from our campus security to when you're out with your friends and stuff like that. So I do encourage you as you go about life, you know, to please keep local government and keep public safety and public health, you know, all these people that work these jobs in your thoughts and in your prayers. And I do hope you come in and work this one day, because it's a wonderful job. And it's a wonderful career to do. That being said, I also would like to point out that just for the record, that our city attorney did start at Berkeley, but he finished at USC and went to law school there, just so we're all very clear about that. You know, I know a few of you are thinking about or are going to Bruin your life, but there is always hope for you after you make that decision. And well, there's always grad school when you decide to come over. That being said, I do wish all of you well on the student side. And if I can ever do anything for you, regardless of where your journey takes you, please give me a call or send me an email. At USC, I am and I have been a mentor for students, and I've facilitated internships for students who actually, our last intern actually got hired by the city and started his journey here as an intern, as many people have. And if you didn't know this, we have so many people who actually are working as staff in our city that have been interns and have had wonderful careers working with us. So public service is an awesome job. To that, I'll change gears. As everyone else said, we just had an election, so it is a really exciting time for you guys to be here with us. And I just wanted to say congratulations to all the candidates. Elections, as Council Member Nakano talked about, you know, are very challenging. And as I said at the last meeting, people start thanking you for running, and you don't figure it out until you're dang near there. So I do thank everybody who ran great campaigns, informative campaigns, and it just takes courage to do it. So I'm very proud of everybody who ran, Mr. Shirley, Ms. Panacidi. Congratulations, Councilmember Weber, on your re-election. 4 more years. And so I look forward to continuing to work with you in the years ahead here. And to Councilmember-elect Bertagos, congratulations. And I look forward to working with you as well. I just wanted to point out, I unfortunately was unable to attend the Little League opening day. I did see it streaming. My uncle passed away, Anthony Belmonte. He was a U.S. Marine and unfortunately passed with advanced Parkinson's disease. So I attended his services this past Friday and was unable to attend. So I do send my apologies, but I hope you understand. Coming up this past week, the Sheriff's Department had a fundraiser at San Dimas Station for Baker to Vegas. And I just wanted to take a moment to wish our San Dimas Walnut Baker to Vegas team the best of luck. For those that don't know, Baker to Vegas is a race where the law enforcement agencies from all around the world run from Baker, California to Las Vegas in a relay stage race. So Councilmember Weber will be running. And so I wish him the best of luck with Irvine. You're not running?
No, I just wanted to point out that San Dimas Walnut Baker to Vegas team is in our division, so I wish them the best of luck, but we will beat them.
Break a leg, Eric. Break a leg. But that being said, I do wish our San Dimas Walnut Baker to Vegas team the best. I too will be at Baker to Vegas, participating with my station's team, which is in the Invitational 800 mixed category. So we also may be competing. That being said, I did want to thank the San Dimas Rotary Club, the Masonic Lodge, as well as the Sheriff's Star Post 309 for their efforts in the food drive. I will say that Eric, Councilmember Weber, said we donated about or nearly a quarter ton of food between he and I. We donated 425 pounds, and I'm confident. I don't know how much Councilmember Nakano weighs, but I'm sure we made up the 75 pounds. So I'm pretty sure we collectively donated a quarter ton of food. So good job, Council, and all of us and getting in on that. And I'm happy to have done my part there for all of you, making up that big 225 pounds of that. But, hopefully I'll cut back on that next year. Lastly, this coming weekend is the City Olympics. And so I just wanted to take a moment to plug that. Our Parks and Recreation Department and the city put on the City Olympics each year. It's at 7 a.m. Over at the Sportsplex, if I recall correctly. Chris, shake your head. Is that correct? Yes, thank you. So I hope to see some of you out there. I will try to get out there. The City Olympics is a great event, and so many young athletes come out from the community and do so amazing and do great things. So I really do hope to see you then. And lastly, as I said earlier, I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but for the students, I do think it's something for you to see as you talked about the dynamics of seeing votes called back, as it was pointed out to Councilmember Ebner's student there. You know, telecommunications and telecommuting to council meetings is really a relatively new thing as it relates to COVID. But it had existed in the past. And so government, and my only point bringing this up, government continues to evolve. And I think it's important as you guys are studying government, that you do follow changes in government, because these changes, even the ones that happened after COVID, change how you're able to interact with your government. So we want to be accessible. We want to be engaging. Like I said earlier, sometimes this is like watching paint dry. But I do appreciate you guys coming in, and best of luck to you. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I think I've said it all, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Stick around. We're going to be here a while.
Great.
Madam City Clerk, do you like to have your young lady say a few words? And by the way, everyone who's here from the school will have a chance to say a few words. But please, you guys speak as long as you want. These guys don't know when we're in a rush.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's been very fun and interesting to learn how these kind of conversations go, and like what's talked about and how it's communicated and worked through. And as a lot of my fellow classmates said, it's really interesting to see the younger generation being brought into like adult-like things and learning and growing. I think that was really interesting, and just thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney?
Hello. Thank you so much, City Council and Mr. Milbrandt, of course, for hosting this event every year. This is a really great experience for us to like dip our feet in politics, especially like in the city, because not a lot of students get to like experience that. We watch on TV, it's like judges and law and stuff, but it's never like city. So thank you so much again. This will definitely like help me and the rest of us further our our choice in profession. So thank you so much.
Madam City Manager?
I really appreciated the opportunity to sit in on this kind of stuff. I always feel like it's better to be informed and be able to participate now rather than complain later when stuff has already been passed. So that's one of my main reasons for being interested in this kind of stuff. So I really appreciated getting to see kind of how that works and where that comes from, instead of just being like, oh, how come this thing happened? Because there is a way to find out about it, and I think there's always a need to be more informed, and I've appreciated getting to hear more about that.
Thank you. Madam Parks and Rec, Parks and Rec are always the people being praised because they always have the fun. So you get it.
Hi again. I'd like to say once again, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Milbrandt. It's really nice to see adults engage in politics in a positive way. Because my grandparents, they are not super positive in politics. The news, not super positive in politics. So it's just very refreshing to see, and also kind of inspiring to see that there is ways to get legislation passed in a positive and safe environment. I don't know if that's the right word, but it is very welcoming here. And it's a great place to start in politics. Like, again, I'm not really going to go in the politics career, but it is very interesting to see how all of it works together and how all of you guys work as a team to really just help our community grow. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Sherry?
I'm very grateful for this opportunity. It was very informative to see how these conversations go and how each question and casualty is exercised, and being able to see how these policies will actually be acted out was very informative, and I appreciate that. And go Bears.
Thank you, young lady. Planning?
Hi. It was really nice seeing how, city council plays out, especially when people mainly think about politics. It's just in like the whole government, whole United States view, and you never really see your own city's perspective on things. And I can see from what I've talked to with my director of the community that you guys are trying to also target newer generations in advancing San Dimas as a whole. And I also want to thank Mr. Milbrandt for giving us this opportunity to see. I've always had it like a liking to government, and just seeing it play out in my own city was really, really nice. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Assistant City Manager.
I just want to thank everybody for having us here today, Mr. Milbrandt, and thank you for pushing us to do this. I know that I hadn't signed up at first, and I really want to give thanks to you for giving me this opportunity to be here. I really appreciate sitting in this conversation, because I feel like today we have access to a lot of information, and we kind of just be outraged online for politics that don't really seem to affect us on our day-to-day life. And we overlook this kind of community that we have, and we don't participate in it. I don't see anybody talking about who is running for city council at all instead, but I did see people being outraged by gun laws. Not that that's not important, but I feel like we should be more involved in our city politics because it affects us in our day-to-day life. So this was a great thing to be in here with you guys today. I really feel welcomed, and I will definitely be a bit more involved in our city politics, because I see this as a really great community. You know, I haven't been here my whole life. I am an immigrant, and as an immigrant, I feel like this is such a great place. It's so welcoming. I did come from Azusa. I haven't lived here my whole life, and San Dimas has been such a welcoming community. From the people, the staff in the schools, I have felt at home here every single year. So thank you guys for building such a great community.
Thank you. Hi. I'm going to let my partner go ahead and speak, and I'll speak last.
I'll be quick. Just thank you again for this opportunity. I think, as everyone has said, it's really cool. Especially like I'm in ASB, so we have like weekly like expenditure meetings and stuff like that. And so we're always like voting on expenditures and like fundraisers and stuff like that. But I think it's really cool to see it like more real world rather than like just what's going on at school. And it really gives like a good insight on like what I want to do in my future. So I thank you all for the opportunity. I think that investing your time into the world's future leaders is a really great thing.
Super. She's a great partner. I have several things to address, but we're gonna go by it pretty fast. But I do feel like I need to say something about this weight deal. First off, the three guys with the biggest weight, they went together and teamed up and they did all of this stuff. But I was informed that they were gonna transport all of this food in a 6x truck, the old Marine Corps truck, and I was told that my weight wasn't going to matter because they already had taken up all the space, and the truck wasn't going to hold it. So the reality is, I salute them, but a lot of people are going to have a lot of rice and beans. One of the most important things here is, as we can see, this event, it goes along every year. But the city also has something that's extremely important. The city has 5 commissions. And the city council this last year decided to open up the commissions to a youth commissioner. I'm not sure what the ages is. What are the ages?
School age, so they all qualify all the way up until age 21.
Okay, each commission has space for a school-age commissioner who all they need to do is reach out to the city clerk, put an application in, and right now we have 5 vacancies. So we're looking for 5 kids who want to participate and work and study what's going on in our community, Parks and Rec, every commission. So I challenge Mr. Milbrandt and Ms. Yassin to look for us some youth and get their opinions in here. But I realize high school students have, I was going to give everybody no homework tonight, but there's been too many things talked about. But so those youth commissioners would be very good. I just want to take just 1 second off track. I want to thank Mr. Milbrandt, and I also want to thank Mrs. Yassin. Mrs. Yassin has been a counselor at Lone Hill Middle School for 14, 15, 16 years. Her daughter didn't know, so that's not my fault. But the reality is, most of these students had an opportunity to be counseled by her, and I want to thank you for the job you've done and Mr. Milbrandt, same thing. But I also want to take 1 step further and challenge Mr. Milbrandt, especially. Several years ago, the city council was invited to San Dimas High School to a city council meeting. Or not a city council meeting, a school council meeting. So we went there, we had a very nice lunch, we got to participate and watch how they run their school. And that was something that was, every person on the council thought it was a great deal. And I've asked in the past, can we do something like that again? I've even mentioned it at the last time I met with the superintendent of schools. And I just think that the council would appreciate some type of interchange, but exchange between us and them and the students. I think it would be fun. It was a lot of fun for us as the people in charge of the city to find out how they really ran a meeting. So the reality is something to might think of sometime or another. I got a representative right here who's going to take care of that. Okay.
Second Wednesday of every month.
Second Wednesday of every month. What kind of food do you have? So with that being said, there's a lot of things going on. I want to thank the kids, and they're not kids, they're young adults, excuse me. But I have children, and I call them kids, and then sometimes I even call some of my fellow councilmen kids. So thank you very much. Thanks to the parents. I did leave a message at the school about no homework for you guys, but nobody returned my call. So thank you. Unless you're going to tell me something I forgot. Okay. At this point, city attorney, we're having a closed session. Would you like to expound on that?
Sure. The council is going to have a very brief closed session tonight on an anticipated litigation item, a significant exposure to litigation in one case.
When the city attorney says very brief, it depends on which 5 members show up at this closed session. If Ryan's there, it might go a little longer. If John's there, it will go a little longer. But long story short, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Good night. Thank you very much. Thanks, parents. And we're going to send your young adults home, so watch the clock because meeting's adjourning now. Bye-bye.